party members, I did it. I finally went to Empire. For those of you who don't know, Empire is probably the most popular LARP here in the UK. It has been on my to-do list for quite some time. I know a lot of my viewers who are here in the UK go to Empire or plan to go to Empire, so I thought it a good idea to try it out myself. It is a festival LARP. It's attended by a lot of people. I think there were 3,000, maybe 3,500 attendees at the event I've just been to. And it's a high fantasy game, so we're talking swords and we're talking magic and all of those wonderful things that come together in that sort of imagination space. So just to give you a brief overview of the setting, it is set in the Empire, shockingly. The Empire is made up of 10 nations of different characteristics and different cultures who all come together to essentially shape the future as a community. The Empire is surrounded by other nations who are all barbarians of various sorts, who are the Empire's enemies and are in constant conflict with them. The only race that is an Empire are humans. However, there are humans with different lineages, which gives them sort of individual characteristics reminiscent of other sort of fantasy genre races. So you have the Briars, who will have bark-like traits, kind of, you know, they cut their skin, it grows bark over it kind of thing. You've got the changelings, who resemble sort of fae and elves. You've got the, the Naga, who are kind of reptilian. There are several other lineages as well. I could go on about them forever, but let's face it, if I did, we'd be here all night. So trust me, there are lots of different options on what kind of lineages you can have. All of this is outlined in Empire's character creator, which you can find on their website. It's actually a really simple system to use. You essentially go into it, you can pick your nation that you're joining, what lineage you have, you can buy your character skills, and essentially set up where you want your character sort of be at the start of your story. You start with about 8 character points that you can spend on pretty much anything, and you get more character points the longer you play the game. You get XP in between games, not between every game, I think it's every other game that you go to, so they encourage you to go to like 3 or 4 of these a year to get as much experience as you can. And once you've earned your XP, you can spend that on additional skills and essentially develop your character more. You can also determine in the character creator where your character is from and also what resources your character has to start with. You can have something like a mana mine, a herb garden, or even just a business. And whatever kind of resource you start with will determine some extra items that you get at the start of the game. For this event, I decided to step out of my comfort zone instead of just going pure sort of, you know, fighter, and I decided to be a battle mage, which meant I was still a fighter, but this time with wibbly wobbly pointy magic skills. I wanted to try out their magic system because it looked really interesting, where you buy individual spells, and I really like fights, so I decided I wanted to get in on that. But we'll come back to fighting in a little bit. I did some pre-event prep before I went to Empire because I didn't know much about the setting. I had no idea how to build a character and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. So I spoke to my wonderful friend Steve at Hefty Yeti, who I actually got to finally meet at this event, which was very exciting for me. And he talked me through the character creator and what the hell I was doing. Gave me some points on things that would work, things that wouldn't, and I listened to some and ignored others to comedic effect at the actual event. I also listened to some podcasts about you know, things I could expect there, what kind of things happen at these events. I listened to the LARP Noobs podcast because they are pretty much self-descriptive. They are there for LARP noobs, and I was very much a noob in this situation, so very helpful. So thank you all so much for such a great podcast. I also started listening to a new podcast which is called LARPs and Tarps, which is made by a group of very talented, very knowledgeable individuals, and they talk about their experiences at Empire, things that they've done in the past which they would recommend, they wouldn't recommend. If you are planning on going to Empire at some point, I recommend subscribe to them. If you already go to Empire, I also recommend subscribing to them because listening to their stories about things they do there is absolutely hilarious. Incidentally, LARPs and Tarps accidentally became my lift down to Empire as well. I did not know this until After we'd started talking about them giving me a lift, I answered a quick call out on Facebook for an extra passenger down. We got chatting, and it turns out they were like, yeah, we've got this podcast if you want to listen to it. And it was Larps and Tarps, who I already listened to. So it was quite exciting for me. I was very happy to meet them. If you're watching this, Larps and Tarps, thank you for being awesome. If you ever would do me the honour of collabing with me, I would be so grateful, because you guys are brilliant. And so were so knowledgeable and so much fun on the ride down and on the ride back. I had so much fun. But yeah, going back to my original point, if you've never been to Empire before, or you're new to Empire and want to know a bit more about it, listen to LARP News Podcast and to Larps and Tarps. They know what they're talking about. They are really, really fun and really, really knowledgeable. Highly recommended. Please go subscribe to them now. They are here on YouTube as well as on various podcasts, places. Right, going back to talking about Empire. So when I got there, I didn't really know what to expect. I knew there was a lot of people, but I didn't quite expect to get there and to be greeted by a sea of canvas. Like, as far as the eye I could see, just white canvas tents everywhere. At previous little festival LARPs I've been to, the tents are all kind of grouped together in kind of little villages almost, with big gaps in between them, so that there's lots of places and safe areas that you can fight in without doing injury to yourself or others. But Empire doesn't have that. Empire has a set space where you go and fight stuff, and that means that there's no issue with just having tents crowded together everywhere. Now, these weren't small fields either. They're absolutely huge, and it's just tent after tent after tent dotted about, and I can only describe it as a canvas city. I was in a city of tents. And immediately when I got there, you could sort of feel the generalized culture of the event pretty much immediately. Every single tent I could see, because this was all in character camping as well. They had a separate area for out of character camping, so if you had a tent that didn't look very sort of, within the fantasy genre, you could camp out sort of a little bit out of the way, just so you don't sort of ruin the immersion or aesthetic that they've all got going on. And bloody hell, they lean into that aesthetic. It's just like every tent is covered in like vines or bunting. There's flags everywhere. There's lots of in-character furniture, like big wooden crates. I felt like I'd sort of wandered into like the Rohirrim camp from Lord of the Rings. Just so immersive right from that get-go. It was incredible. And you could really feel those levels of immersion pretty much everywhere you went. The roleplay was very intense. I believe that's because there's very little sort of space in between. When I go to other sort of games, the roleplay is generally broken up by fighting, and because, that's what I go to LARP for, stabby, hit, but we'll come back to that in a minute. And because the fighting aspect of Empire is kind of out of the way of the main area, it's just roleplay, which is great, but can be really, really intense. Intense is the only word I have. And the thing that made it really interesting for me was how much of that roleplay was driven by the players. Most of the interactions that I saw between people was roleplay of their own making, which didn't surprise me at all, because when I joined various Facebook pages before the event arrived, it was very clear to me that these group of players were very, very into it. They had in-character businesses that they advertised regularly. They had all this other sort of stuff going on. They traded a lot of stuff for in-character money. The money system at Empire is very interesting. They have three or four types of coins called thrones, crowns, and rings, with various amounts that go into them. And what I really liked were they came in these sort of metal coin kind of things that were really, really cool. Don't get me wrong, I know like other LARPs use metal coins, but these ones are like really nice. They just felt really good and weighty in my hands. I didn't drop it. There was a lot of things you could buy for in-character money, which surprised me. I mean, you could always buy the resources things you have in game, like potions and herbs and whatever. But people also used it to trade for general other stuff, like costume pieces. Like, you know, there was at least one shop there that, you know, trades for in-character money, which is fair enough. That shop goes around to various LARPs in the UK and trades for their in-character money, so I was expecting them to be there. But you could also buy like jewelry from people, a lot of people selling food. So many people selling like various baked goods or pasta or burgers and just sausages, whatever. And they would sell it to you for in-character money. So if you knew where to go and how much everything, and you had enough money, you could essentially feed yourself at this event on the in-character money alone. Which I tried to do and failed because I didn't really know where to go for every meal. But I did get some, which did save me a decent portion of real world money. There were also pubs and you could buy alcohol for in-character money as well, which was great because I did not bring any alcohol with me, and alcohol tends to be expensive. So to be able to go and get a cocktail for 5 to 10 rings or so, which is also a small denomination of money too, was a joy. I was very, very chuffed with myself. And like I said, one of the reasons that this whole sort of scenario exists is because their battles are set in an area away from the main campsite. And you get in there through a thing called the Sentinel Gate, which is this big, beautiful fake stone arch. And you essentially, it's a portal to wherever you're going off to fight, and you go through it. You go through to the big field and your enemies are waiting for you on the other side. Now, I am usually a pretty confident fighter. I fight a lot at various other games. I have run a martial guild at the Lorien Trust. So I was quite confident when I was on my way there about getting into a fight. But as I got closer to the actual fight, I will confess I got a little bit nervous because Empire has this reputation that precedes it where its characters die in the fights quite a lot. And I was a bit nervous about that, mainly because and it sounds really stupid, I didn't have any spare kit with me and I didn't want to have to create a new character. So and because these fights can be quite chaotic, especially large battles, I decided to sort of hand back, and I worked with the healing group for quite a while. As it turns out, that was the correct move because my health is not where it used to be still, and I got exhausted because that field was a lot bigger than I expected it to be. But yeah, so I'll be honest with you, I kind of wussed out of a fight, which annoyed me quite intensely because I do like doing it, but it was the right decision for me, I think. No, I kind of regret it, to be honest, but what can I say? I wussed out, wasn't impressed with myself. But never mind. The fighting looked really cool though. There was lots of like heavy line fighting with shields. There was skirmishes sort of going off on one side. There was magic going off everywhere. It was, I went into two, one on the monster crew and one on the player side, because that's how it works. If you decide to go onto the battlefield as a player, then you are expected to go to another battle as a monster. A sort of a quid pro quo kind of thing. If you don't do that, it's seen as being a bit, you know, crap. So I did both fights. They were probably some of the most interesting and terrifying fights I've been in. Not because of the actual fight itself, but more because of the atmosphere. Obviously, you've got all these players sort of, you know, going at each other with a lot of weapons. There's a mass of people. I don't think I've seen a fight like with that many people in a very long time, which actually made the whole thing a little scary, to be honest. But throw in that there were smoke bombs going off behind me, so every so often this massive smoke just wafted through the entire area, with the sound of drums that had been bought by somebody. I don't know if they were players, like bards who had brought drums for the sake of it, or if they were like part of the skirmish crew who had drums to, you know, build atmosphere. but it was amazing. It was amazing to be in battle with heavy drums in the background. It was like the Battle of Helm's Deep, almost sort of in atmosphere. Yeah, I don't think I'll forget that feeling for quite some time. It was incredible. So I could go into and sort of tell you all the things I got up to at the event. I didn't get as much done as I really wanted to because I wanted to get a really good feeling of what the actual, you know, place was like. I did get some brilliant moments though. I went on a bar crawl essentially with Steve from Hefty Yeti on Saturday night. Got an amazing sort of view of all of the different nations we went to at night. We drank in various bars and I got to meet lots of people, and that was really, really cool. I went and saw my friends who were in a different nation to me. I was in the Navarre, they were in like the Brass Coast, and they had all these beautiful colours and golden coins and beautiful tents and things like that. It was so interesting. But I don't really want to go too much into the story of what I did at the event, because I think because everyone's adventure in the Empire is entirely different, and what you would go to the Empire to experience is not the same thing that I go to the Empire to experience. So, yeah. But overall, this was a really, really good weekend. And I think I get it now. I get why people are so hyped up about Empire. The level of immersion that Empire has is on a level that other LARPs don't quite have. And the thing is that level of immersion, while some of it is driven by the setting of Empire and the writers of Empire, who are very talented and very clever with the way they have built this, the way that the players have taken that brief and dialed it up to 11 just makes this whole game feel like almost an alternate reality. Just walking through the city of tents and seeing all these different people in different costumes sat in there in character furniture with all these banners and colours and smells and sounds that you can hear around you. There's bards playing in the distance, like various other sort of things going around. There was fire dancing at one point, it was amazing. And then combine that with these battles that are almost movie-esque, with these drums and the smoke and all of these enemies in, by the way, in orc masks, which add to this sort of level of realism. It almost felt like I had actually wandered into Lord of the Rings. It's the only way I think I can describe the overall sense of it. And truthfully, I really, really, really want to go back. I had such an amazing time. I will be back there next year. Don't know when. I'm hoping to go to all 4 events. Can't guarantee it, but I really hope so. I'm dragging my husband and my son with me this time because I need more people to go with. So I have a lot of people to thank for Empire. I have to thank Steve from Hefty Yeti for guilt tripping me into going over Twitter. Thank you so much, Steve. I had an amazing time and it's literally all because of you, so thank you. I want to thank my wonderful friend Debbie and her group, The Dancing Leaf, for hosting me during the event. You guys were so knowledgeable and so wise, and you listened to all my inane questions without judgment and helped me understand so much of what was going on. So thank you all so much for being the best, you know, group that I could have possibly had for my very first event. Thank you for LARPs and TARPs for being my unsuspecting travel companions on the way down and on the way up. Hearing about all of your experiences and how excited you were for the event got me very excited on the way down, and it was wonderful to froth with you on the way back. Can't have had better travel companions at all. Thank you so, so much. And thank you to all of you who attended Empire and actually came and said hello to me during the course of the event. I was very flattered to be recognised at all. I was extremely flattered for those of you who said that my videos contributed to you being there and having a good event. That meant so much to me. Thank you so, so much. And thank you to Profound Decisions, who made this incredible game and put it out there for the world to have. You are all incredibly talented. Thank you, I had an amazing time. And thank you very much for watching. If you like me doing videos and want me to see me do more event videos, this time with actual footage, I have a Ko-fi now. There is some exclusive content on my Ko-fi if you want to go out over there and check that out. I have a blog on there which I update regularly. I'm going to have some more behind the scenes videos. There's going to be photographs of my events that I won't be posting up on places like my Instagram. So yeah, if you want to see more stuff, I'm off to another LARP actually in October called the Goblin Ball. I'm hoping to show you more about that very, very soon afterwards. Yeah, I'm so keen to get some more stuff out there. So yeah, if you want to help me out and give me some support, go check out my Ko-fi now. Thank you so much for watching. It was so great finally being out on a battlefield, and I'll see you on the next battlefield soon.